Yes, family. My name is Vicki Dillard. Thank you so much for tuning into my personal channel here at VickiDillard.tv. I'm so pleased that you have joined me today, family. Just wanted to tap in very quickly with you today. Got a full schedule going, but I told you I did not want to, of course, abandon my personal channel. I'm going to be expanding on some other platforms. I'll be giving you some information on that in the upcoming days. So be sure to stay tuned. Of course, I'm on another network and app, African Diaspora News Channel. We have our own app. So all the major places where you can download apps from Apple and Spotify and wherever else you can name, I believe you should be able to find African Diaspora News Channel and find my content there, as well as their YouTube channel. African Diaspora News. So that's where you can see more of my content, both national and international commentary. And again, we're certainly going to be expanding on other alternative platforms. Yes, family, and I'm so excited. So stay tuned for that. One of the ways you can stay informed on all the yummy things that I've got going on, beloved, is if you subscribe to my email list at my website at VickiPlanet.com. I'm going to make sure that we have that pinned in the comments at the end of this airing. Yes. So, family, I wanted to talk about this brief subject because I've discussed this before on other platforms, but I wanted to discuss it with the family here. Can you all see this this headline here? This headline is from military.com. I wanted to go straight to one of the military sources. Look at this headline. Now look at the image. New Army shaving policy will allow soldiers with skin conditions that affect mostly Black men to be kicked out. Now, again, some of you all have very likely heard me talk about this because some of this was taking place a bit under the Biden administration. But you've got to ask yourself, why is it that it's back now in the news and it's got even more momentum? Yes. Well, listen to me a little bit here and I'll break down why I believe this is taking place. And I want to remind you, of a couple of other things as well. Yes. Well, it says here that the Army is preparing to roll out a new policy that could lead to soldiers diagnosed with a chronic skin condition that causes painful raised bumps and scarring to be kicked out of service, an issue that disproportionately affects Black men. The new guidance, expected to take effect in the coming weeks, would bar permanent shaving waivers. Did y'all hear that? Would bar permanent shaving waivers and require medical personnel to craft formal treatment plans for affected troops, according to multiple service officials and internal documents reviewed by military.com. So this has been an issue that has been ongoing for some time, but they're amplifying it now. And one of the things I'm trying to highlight is to show you that in recent times, they're removing, as it says here, it would bar, which means to stop, permanent shaving waivers. So the way they were able to work around this when the Black soldiers were targeted a long time ago was through these waivers. Now they're talking about getting rid of the waivers. So y'all listening. Now, soldiers in need of prolonged waivers may be directed to get laser treatments. Y'all listen. Those who need shaving exemptions for more than 12 months over a 2-year period could be kicked out of the Army. Units across the force will also be mandated to rebrief personnel on grooming standards within 90 days of the policy's rollout. Now, family, this is not making any sense, and I'm going to explain to you why. A little bit more. Most shaving waivers are for soldiers diagnosed with pseudofolliculitis. Yes, barbae. It's also known as PFB. Now, if I mispronounce it, don't be trying to do all that, family, in the comments, just please. We're going to call it PFB, a condition in which hairs curl back into the skin after shaving and cause irritation. Now, Black family, we are aware of that, but also you can find natural solutions to some of these through some of our Black healers, because I have heard of multiple different Black groups that have their own natural or alternative means of getting rid of this. Of course, we know about this because this, as it says here, primarily affects Black folks. So we know how to heal ourselves. I'm just bringing that to your attention so that you can research that and find information amongst our own that can help with natural remedies. But that's not the point here. This is political. Watch this, y'all. The Pentagon may cover, y'all listen, the Pentagon may cover the laser treatment, but that can cost thousands of dollars per soldier depending on the number of sessions required. It's unclear how many soldiers would require the procedure. The American Osteopathic College of Dermatology estimates that up to 60% of Black men are affected by the condition. Laser treatments can cause scarring and changes in skin pigmentation. That's what they want. Because some of you all don't understand that your pigment is when I say black, the first thing you ninjas be out there saying is that the color don't matter. You sound just as dumb as the rest of them. Your blackness is cosmic. Your blackness is electricity. Your blackness is technology. Why do you think they line the outside of a vessel that's going out of space with your very black melanin? They're engineering tools that have melanin in it that has your very type of melanin. How many of you all know that our bodies are actually made up of stardust, but there is something unique about ours? This is our connection to the diaspora. Do you understand? In March, the Marine Corps rolled out a similar program allowing troops to be separated if the genetic skin condition persists, also raising concerns of racial discrimination. Now, fam, you know damn well that don't make no sense. This is diabolical and demonic. And they found a condition that disproportionately affects Black men because there is an agenda. I'm going to get to it in a minute. The Army has been in prolonged recruiting slump since the high water mark of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, something it started to turn around last year. While Black Americans make up about 14% of the U.S. population, they have accounted for roughly 1/4 of the Army's new recruits in recent years, with that number steadily rising. I've always talked to you all, if you watch my commentary here and on other platforms, about how even though our numbers and our percentage of Black Americans in the United States is small, we make up a disproportionately larger number in the military. And that's a problem for white supremacy. However, the services have made deliberate, it says here, efforts to reduce recruiting efforts linked to minority groups, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's purge of diversity initiatives during the Trump administration. In 2018, more than 44,000 new recruits identified as white, according to Army data. By 2023, that number has fallen to just 25,000, a staggering 43% drop in 5 years. The steepest annual decline came mostly recently, with a 6% dip from 2022 to 2023 alone. No other demographic group has seen such a precipitous fall. Much of the recent recruiting slump was attributable to men being less qualified or willing to don the uniform, while women have been joining the ranks at a steady rate. Medical complications tied to mandatory shaving emerged as a flashpoint during the military's bumpy road toward racial integration. Y'all listening? In the early 1970s, then Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Elmo Zumwalt launched an aggressive campaign to root out racism and sexism across the ranks. As part of the broader push, Zumwalt issued a famous directive permitting sailors to grow beards and mustaches. I need y'all to hear me today. A move that clashed with the Navy's traditionally rigid grooming codes, but aimed to ease chronic skin issues that disproportionately affect Black service members. The primary argument against allowing beards in the ranks has long centered on concerns that they could compromise the seal of a gas mask. But a 2021 study from Military Medicine, a peer-reviewed medical journal, found there's no conclusive evidence that a well-groomed, modest beard interferes with mask function. The devil is a real crazy ass liar. Isn't this crazy? This is beyond crazy. And they want you to be crazy with them. They want you to justify and reason with their stupidity. They want you to join in and waste your intellectual prowess, a little bit that some of y'all got. They want you to waste that chit-chatting with them over foolishness. See, when you take too long to come to the right conclusion, you give your enemy time to strike. I just said something right there. Did you hear what I said? I said when you take too long to come to the right conclusion, that lull in thinking and being decisive is what gives your enemy a chance to strike your silly, slow self. I got to talk to you like this because some of you all don't believe 500 years of dealing with this enemy is long enough for you to get right to the point. When I tell you that this was Trump was using some of us foundational Black Americans to push their talking points, and when I told you all that the stuff he was doing in DC was a strike against us. You ninjas out there talking about everything else. You comment on different one of my other platforms talking about immigration. I talk about immigration and ICE, fool. I'm with you on the illegal immigration stuff, but I don't miss the forest for the trees. They know that Black Americans are disgusted by them giving tangibles and priorities to illegal migrants. So they know that's a flashpoint for us. They know that's an issue that's going to get us charged up. So if you're distracted enough and they throw that out there trying to pretend like that's a part of the agenda that they're doing in DC, you'll miss what they're doing by targeting us. Now, why am I talking about Black soldiers? I've been talking about Black soldiers, and I'm bringing it back to your attention because, yes, you can see this was always an agenda to start pulling them out. They've amplified it by barring some of the previous permanent waivers that they used to give Black soldiers that were disproportionately affected with this skin condition. As I mentioned before, this is a skin condition, beloved, that can actually be addressed by Black folks that are in alternative medicines, because I've heard many of our healers talk about things that they have that can address this. So look into that. But besides that, this has to do with white America and her white Western allies, which is known as the global North, the imperialist states that's losing their time on our planet. Their concern is up. White folks' numbers is they're dropping organically. They're getting out of here on their own. Talk black to me. So what they're doing, the way they maintain their hegemony and their oppression over the world, even though white folks globally are the minority because there are more melanated people around the world than white folks, the way they keep their oppression intact is because they control the top of systems and institutions, countries, and nations. See, when you control militaries, banking systems, and populations, and media, you still get to rule the world. You understand? So they're real shaky right now. This is the reason why they don't like groups like BRICS. And so members of BRICS, they'll use a certain point that'll throw us for loop. So they'll throw something out about Russia because Russia is one of the only white states or white countries and nations that supports BRICS. The rest of the white world is with the global North. Russia is with the global South, which is predominantly Africa and the other melanated countries around the world. So they'll throw something out crazy about Russia out of nowhere, and then we'll go for it. Be like, oh, Putin is a dictator. Then they know we're against some of the illegal stuff that's going on in with the migrants coming over here. So then they'll throw something in about Venezuela, which we're against illegal Venezuelans here causing havoc. But then they'll mix up the country Venezuela, the state, the nation of Venezuela. They'll mess up, they'll throw them in and mix it up so that we can just be against anything Venezuela, not knowing that we're the dirty hand behind us trying to undermine their country that has to do with oil and resources and economic sovereignty. Have you ever heard the phrase that the devil is in the details? Well, I say the Davy is in the details. That's too much for some of y'all. Vicki, what you mean, baby? That's another day in another book, baby. That goes with my goddess teachings for the copycats out there. No, I didn't get that from nobody but divine spirit, like I do a lot of my revelations. But then confirmation comes later with little facts and stuff. Look. So the reason they're targeting Black men is because every time there was an uprising, because we served in every war, that means that while we were in chains, while we were under chattel slavery, and before America was officially formed some 200 and some odd years ago, 270 approximate years ago, 1776 minus 2025 at the time of this era. Before America was officially formed, we were serving on both sides of the war because we were on this land and we were brought to this land before America was officially formed, both. Yes. So when we say 400 years, that's what we mean. That we're saying that we were here before America was quote unquote officially formed through its constitution. We served in all the wars because in many cases we were hoping to get freedom. So yes, there were Black soldiers that was fighting for the so-called North and South. And the war, the Civil War, as I have taught you over the years, was not about white folks, most of white folks being righteous and wanting to end slavery. There was only a small handful of Quaker-type white folks that legitimately wanted slavery to end. Yes, the North wanted slavery to end, but why? Why? Was it because they were sick of Black folks being oppressed, lynched, set on fire, raped, robbed, destroyed? No, ninja. No. It was an economic reason. The North was jealous of the South because the South had way more slaves, which means that they were way more rich, and they were disproportionately also they was messing with, cooking the books, messing with the numbers, using the numbers of enslaved folks to get extra authority and extra seats as it relates to the way Congress was being set up over the years in its initial stages. How many of you all know that in the United States right now, every state gets 2 senators? No matter how big or small your state is, every state gets 2 senators. That's what makes, that's why we have 100 senators in the United States. But how many of you all know that your House of Representative Congress folks, the lower house, differs depending on each state? That's based on demographics. You understand? That's based on population and other factors. So similarly to that principle, even though it wasn't exactly the same, but similarly to the principle of the House of Representatives, they differ from state to state because they were the South was using even some of the numbers of slaves to gain extra power and let's just say seats in Congress. They were growing in power in terms of government-wise and politically, and they were richer because of slavery. That's why the North was pissed and jealous. That's one of the reasons that was a driving force behind the majority of white folks that wanted slavery to end in the South. Get a book called Forced into Glory so that you can educate yourself. Again, it was a group of white folks that wanted slavery to end because it was unjust and unrighteous, but they were the minority. Let's quit acting like it was a whole lot of white folks that was right. That's not, y'all's history don't show that's your nature. So we're not going to play with you on that. It's got to be war, murder, bloodshed, and money involved for y'all to act right. So when Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, the Emancipation Proclamation was tantamount to what your current president was signed as an executive order. He signed that in order to keep the country intact. Abraham Lincoln, who y'all love and worship and glorify, is on record as saying that if he could keep slavery in place and keep America in place, intact, the Union intact, he would have done so. Why y'all ignore the fact that he said that, silly? We're not going to let you get rid of that. We're not going to let you skirt past it. I'm not. That's why I've been teaching on it long before. Now, why am I bringing up all these wars and all this stuff? Why am I reminding you that every single war we fought in, from the Civil War to Vietnam to Afghanistan to Iraq, I remind you that we fought in every single war because we were the most skilled warriors out there. This is the reason why they were forced to even do the Emancipation Proclamation in the first place, because Black soldiers in the form of Black Moors and others were rising up against America. We was tearing their tails up. So America tried to save face by signing the Emancipation Proclamation to say, let's just end it. So they quote unquote ended slavery and oppression in a political, technical form, and then they went to undermining us economically in other areas so that we would never have real power. In other words, wireless slavery. They removed the cords, which in this case was the chains, and controlled you wirelessly through heading the tops of institutions and systems, and then make you think you're free, run around and say you're free, to stop the resistance. When you study the Gullah Geechee type groups, the Black American Maroons, they keep that history out, or they severely limit it because they don't want you to know we was tearing their tails up. Well, back to the wars. We were some of the most skilled warriors out there. So with those skills, every time we were overthrowing America, and every time America was scared and got in trouble, it was because some of her most skilled soldiers was utilizing the skills and expertise that they utilized in war to fight for white supremacist America. And they turned around and used it against America right here in the United States at different times. America is concerned about letting Black men, Black warriors, and Black women get too much knowledge, too much information, too much skills in the art of American modern war. They're scared that your melanin self is going to mess up their plans to dominate the world. So they're trying to purge you out When I told y'all that, you listen to what I tell you and stop telling me about some dumb immigration when it don't apply. You'll tell me what some other black alternative media is saying, and then you're gonna act like I'm supposed to get in line with what they. You better listen to what I'm saying. You better go ask them. Did you hear what Vicki had to say about this? Y'all get on my nerves with that. Somebody put a title in the chat with your slow self. I'm not here to scratch your little weird itches. I'm here to give you the truth. Not only for our survival, but to ensure we thrive. We can't be talking about what Trump is doing after the fact. We got to start having foresight or move early enough along in the war to where we can listen to each other and you not just be caught up in your little online conversations. That's why I sounded the alarm that Trump is after us. There's a lot of other moving parts too. Yes, there's a lot of other moving parts. But some of you all forgot that under the first Trump administration, I covered it then, and I've been covering it ever since then to remind you of what Trump did in the first administration. Trump's first administration. Where's my post? I reminded folks of this fairly recently on Twitter. This is what I just have to go give you the receipts to show you. I've been talking about this for the past several years. From Trump's first administration is when I sounded the alarm. But even recently, this is what I posted because I was doing a quote. Y'all see this quote here? Screenshot this quote. It was under Trump's first administration where the State Department spent $600,000 to study Black Kenyan warriors. Guess what your State Department said they were specifically studying, y'all? Quote, they were studying the Kenyan warriors that were, quote, tough, heterosexual, aggressive, unemotional, and achieving. America knows she cannot get away with open scientific studies on Black folks because we've been sounding the alarm, calling them out. So instead, they decided that they were going to use, and this is what I'm saying to you, Black Kenyan soldiers. Why? What's the commonality between us and the Kenyan soldiers? Are they FBA? No. But what they have in common with us, Ninja, is their Blackness, their melanin, which you have in America. So whatever information they would extract from those Kenyan soldiers that were considered to be the most fierce that's given America and her Western allies that's over there right now, hell, is studying them, figuring out what they can do scientifically. And this is what I posit so that they can undermine them like they've always done here. They're going to use that information, that cross information they're going to study on them to not only take them out, but also to use it against the warriors here. That's what America always did when you study the history. I've talked about this in great detail before. A lot of y'all don't realize that not only did 100 cities go up in flames after they assassinated Dr. King, but before Dr. King, Black folks was taking them folks out. We were snatching white folks out of trucks and taking them out. We were setting stuff on fire. Black folks said, you want to kill us? Okay, we know how to do that too. That's what forced the Kerner Commission. How many of y'all remember that study? Go look it up. When the political action started to take place, it wasn't because Black folks was out there voting. It's because they was out there with snipers. You see? They were snatching stuff. They were setting stuff on fire. America got scared and started coming up with political solutions. And then when they came up, instead of doing the actual political solutions, which they acknowledged real anti-Black problems, they turned around and came up with a scientific thing to start messing with us. How many of y'all know they started flooding us with drugs? They started doing all kind of other little shady stuff so that they wouldn't have to give us justice. Do you understand? I'm trying to show you that the Black warrior has always been a concern for the United States. And so because America knows that her time is up around the world, she believes that your Black self is a problem and an impediment to that agenda. But it's not just Black soldiers. This is what I was trying to show y'all. I hope you can hear this. Look at this very quick video. It's very short from a DC firefighter, a black DC firefighter, a black DC firefighter. They're attacking the black DC firefighters just like they doing the black soldiers related to that skin issue. Y'all know that don't make no damn sense. You better wake up. Firefighters are also a concern because they're a type of soldier. You understand? Because of their access to government. Listen.
Religious practices and medical conditions. These are just some of the reasons why a group of 17 DC firefighters filed a lawsuit against DC Fire and EMS. That action comes after the group says the department instituted a clean shave policy in 2020.
According to Islamic laws, that the man must grow and maintain facial hair. Black males have something called pseudofolliculitis barbae. It's a big word, but PFB, razor bumps, right? So when I do shave and I go clean shave, close shaving, I get irritating bumps.
Now, the group of men say that after they asked for those accommodations to be made, DC Fire and EMS did not actually adhere to those requests. Instead, they say that they were assigned to administrative work. They were assigned to EMS-only work, and they missed out on some key opportunities for growth and promotions within the department. Now, the attorneys representing the group, they say that the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission ruled that DC Fire and EMS did discriminate against the group of men, allowing them to sue. Now, we did reach out to DC Fire and EMS along with the Office of Attorney General, but they declined to make a comment pending that litigation.
Do you all understand what it is now?
Medical condition.
Do y'all understand? This stuff is amplifying now. I told you in recent years, they've always been trying to do that and undermine it. And black men have been able to use waivers and other such things. But it's starting to come to a crescendo. It's starting to come to a head. So Trump and all the rest of them are with that agenda. How many of y'all know that both the Democrats and Republicans believe in putting down black folks? That's why Joe Biden, when he won this last election, remember, he was just waiting to take the oath of office. He cussed out black folks during the Zoom meeting, remember? And said that America was doomed because white folks in America getting ready to be the minority come 2040. And that we black folks are going to have to end up working with Hispanic folks. They was already strategizing in. Wake up and stop taking so long to get to the right conclusion. And you better watch your mouth when it comes down to me giving you the one. And I'm trying to ensure that we survive and that we thrive. When you all start to get on these little online groups and start listening to little weird little voices and stuff that ain't been talking about justice for black folks as long as me. And then when I check us on some stuff and tell us let's slow down on certain things, you want to come to me talking about some FBA, Vicki ain't with us. You just learned about this yesterday. You better sit your newness. Now, I'm done screaming and hollering. Again, family, stay tuned. I'm going to be giving you more information by fall on some of the other new platforms that my program is going to start to be seeded out on. We're going to take it slowly first, where I'm going to be on a few platforms, alternative platforms, non-conventional platforms. I'll give you the details on that, and then we're going to grow from there. Meanwhile, family, get your timeless calendars. I'm still doing my 2025 Flying Female Archangels. You're going to find out that quite a few of these 12 angels that I've discussed, at least 7 of them have twin flames to certain archangels. Every month, you're going to learn about their attributes, and you're going to have a sacred text to meditate upon. They're timeless because it doesn't matter when you get it. It's the information that's relevant. And so I give you instructions on how you use it, no matter when you purchase them. Yes. Also, family, these are some of my previous, luxury magazines. Guess what? I got another one coming out. We're doing pre-sales now. After we do the pre-sales, then I'm going to start doing more direct sales. But anyway, our next one is coming out. And y'all, the cover is so yummy. But most importantly, the information inside the cover for my divine feminine women is just absolutely off the chain. I'm so excited about it. I want you to go to the website, order your pre-sales today. Again, we're going to be doing direct sales, but go ahead and get your pre-sale. This is the cover. I love it so much. But the information inside, beloved, y'all see the topics there. I'm going to be talking about the divine feminine woman and how we're going to be talking about bloodlines and trade lines. Did you hear what I said right there? And then also I'm going to be talking about the black rose luxury issue, and we're going to be talking about yummy potions with oud. I get my potion, my oils from one of the top sources in the world, really. A beautiful Black practitioner that prays special prayers over specific ones. And so I don't just get no any kind of thing, but these are all tools that the Divine Feminine uses, not just Divine Feminines, but of course, this is a Divine Feminine magazine that uses. This is going to go right in line with my 90-day Isis Goddess Temple Mystery School, my gold tier. This is my second school. I've done this for a long time. I've done previous courses over the years ago on not only Ancestors webinar, but also the Secret Money in Your Womb, on and on and on, talking about unusual resources and how we can manifest differently for men. It goes right in line with that. So I'm going to be doing a 90-day course. It's more of a higher end course, but my women, they come out with the top goddess secrets, ancient secrets, just like in ancient Sumeria, Mesopotamia, whether it's Egypt, or whether it's Kemet, beloved, they had mystery schools, not just in those locations, but also in some places here in what we know as the United States of America. But there were different types of sacred mystery schools that everybody can go to. Royalty, priests, certain high-level lineages would get sacred knowledge and information to learn about the cosmic universal principles. Beloved, I got celestial downloads that came from my spiritual family, where I had literal supernatural encounters. And so some of the information that I'm sharing with my divine feminines, baby, came from my celestial ancestors. And so I'm going to be sharing some of those sacred secrets with the divine feminine. So stay tuned for that as well, so that you can get notifications to sign up for that. We will have payment plans available because it's a higher end school. I'm going to have a 60-day higher end school for just my men called Treasures of Darkness. You know, there's a lot of men that's out there hating now, and they want women to lower their standards because they can't afford them. What you don't understand, beloved, is that there is a supernatural way that you can manifest resources to provide and protect for your family. And I think it's about time for you to maybe to listen to a divine feminine woman instead of getting in these little male groups online. Most of those men want women and can't get one. They wifeless. They wifeless and unmagical. Wifeless and unmagical, and y'all in the same group. So let me tell you something. You never gonna manifest when you are in a group of men that don't like women. You're not going to manifest resources when you're sitting there already coming out the gate with a budget. So instead of hating, just invest in supernatural principles to learn how you can divinely connect with the divine feminine. Because when you divinely connect with the feminine, do you know that you're going to manifest circumstances and situations that you otherwise wouldn't? I'm not no money financial guru. I don't do that. You'll never hear Vicki out there talking about some, no. I'm a spiritualist, and I give you spiritual information because this is what I'm commanded to do. And people that act on the spiritual information I give them get results. So if you're about that life, stay tuned. Subscribe to my email list at VickiPlanet.com. Get your 2025 Summer Venus magazine today. I'm so excited, family, because you know how many times your sister has been rejected, disrespected by so many other, even spiritualists, political folks, and other folks too. But the divine never leaves me destitute. And the information I'm going to share with you has shaped my life for my unique purpose. And it would certainly do the same for you. Not that you manifest like me, but that you utilize the supernatural or universal cosmic principles that I'm giving you to manifest in your own life. And I can assure you, it is so yummy. Beloved, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, subscribe to my email list if you don't do anything else. That way you get notification, or join my text list so that you can get direct messages for all of the launches of all these things that I just mentioned. Yes, you can text me at 303-529-2572, 303-529-2572. Again, all that information is going to be pinned below in the comments so that you can just click the link. Okay, I love you. I can't wait to see you again.